The common advice when you're new to psychedelics is not to trip alone, but there are other benefits to tripping with others versus solo, such as being able to share that experience with other people, to bond with other people, to laugh with other people, to have wacky conversations with others and bounce ideas off of, and to have someone there to comfort you, to look out for you, make sure you're safe, and so you don't feel so damn lonely, which sometimes happens to me when I trip alone. But whatever reason you decide to trip with others, one of the most important decisions you can make is choosing who to trip with. So in this video, I'll go over tips on how to choose and vet people to trip with. While it definitely helps if you are already good friends with someone, really close to them, knew them a long time, and you know like how they think and how they operate, it's not necessarily a prerequisite in my opinion. Someone that you're just normal friends with or just acquaintances with could also be good to trip with as well. But if this is someone you don't know very well, I would recommend hanging out with them sober, maybe a few times at least before you trip together, maybe with some alcohol or weed or something, just so you can like get a feel for how they're like and also establish that connection and rapport. Like, I wouldn't trip with someone who I've never met and like the first time we meet was when we're tripping. Not saying that will always turn out bad, but it's just a little more risky. What's more important, I think, and is kind of abstract and hard to gauge, is the general vibe of someone. Like, can you be comfortable, at ease, honest, and open around them? Do you trust them? Do you respect each other? And do you both respect the drugs? Are they mentally sound? Are they mentally in a good place? That's a big one. Are they empathetic, kind, mindful, patient? Do you share the same values? Do they seem like a good person overall in general? The next thing to consider is trip intention compatibility. So some people, they trip and they just want to look at colors, visuals, maybe not very introspective, but it's more of a recreational dose, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But then for other people, it may be more spiritual. Maybe they do want to be introspective and maybe they don't want to talk that much and just be quiet in comfortable silence with someone. Also, when you want the same kind of experience, you kind of end up taking around the same dosage as well. Like, I think it's good for a group of people to trip around the same amount. Now, it might not literally be the same amount because some people have different sensitivities and such that they maybe need to take more or less, but at least if everyone is like on the same level, the same wavelength, that's ideal for a group trip. That is excluding the sober trip sitter, if you have one, of course, which is maybe a good idea if you're going to do it in a unfamiliar environment or with high doses. But generally, like, let's say one person is doing a really light dose and they're just chilling and someone else is like tripping balls into another dimension, then there's kind of like this disparity there. It's just a lot harder to relate to each other. So if y'all are aligned in what you want to do and get out of the trip, then that creates a lot less discord. The next thing to consider when vetting someone, if you want to trip with them, is like, how down are they to trip? It's kind of your responsibility as well to get the sense out of them. Like, there's of course normal nervousness. Like, sometimes I still get nervous before a trip, but if they're really reluctant, they have a lot of anxiety, they don't want to trip, they're not ready, then even though you may think that they'd be awesome to trip with, don't force or pressure them to trip. In time, maybe they'll be ready, maybe they won't. Either way, it's okay. The ideal group trip situation for me is that everyone's excited, albeit maybe a little nervous, and everyone is ready, and everyone is bringing good vibes. I'm sorry, I say the word vibes a lot, but it's the most accurate way I could describe these things. Also, that kind of positivity can be infectious in a group. Likewise, negativity may also be infectious. Of course, a disclaimer that even if someone is super down to trip, that doesn't guarantee a smooth ride. It's just that when you're tripping in a group, especially as the number of people in that group increases, you're also increasing variability and also increasing the potential for many different personalities to interact with each other and maybe conflict with each other. So that also raises the question of what is a good number of people to trip with. For me, the sweet spot is around 3 to 4 people. When tripping one-on-one, it might feel more intimate. So you just have to make sure if you're platonic friends that one person doesn't secretly have a crush on the other person or something, and you'll be fine. But also if you're tripping one-on-one and you're not super close, there might be more maybe awkward silences as well. That's why I find 3 to 4 is a nice balance. So let's say one person goes to the bathroom, or like one person kind of leaves the group for a bit to be alone. You'll still have other people there if you don't want to be alone, you know, like, and you don't have to worry about leaving the other person alone. I think 5 people is probably okay, but that is the upper limit of what number of people I would trip with. I've never actually tripped with 5 people before, but it probably would be okay. It's just like, as I said, when you add more people, it just increases the complexity. There's a lot more people to make sure we're doing okay, a lot more people to take into account. You know, it's hard to make decisions when you're tripping, and so as a group when you're deciding what to do, what to eat, where to go, etc., it's just harder. Also, you know, the other thing that I described earlier about vetting who to trip with and how you should feel like you can be open with them, that they're kind, they have good energy, that they're just generally good people in general. You want every other person in that group to feel that way about every other person in that group too. So if someone is iffy about someone, that could kind of throw off the balance. It's not like the trip is doomed if that happens, but it's just ideal if you're all kind of on the same page about each other. Just consider the group dynamic as a whole. As for tripping with a significant other, it's the same kind of stuff. You want to make sure that they're down, they're ready, they're in a good place mentally, and all that. Don't force them or anything like that. Tripping with your SO could be very, very beautiful experience. And then for people who like you're dating but you're not exclusive or official with, you know what I mean? Maybe you're friends with benefits or something. Just be careful, because one person may start liking the other person a lot more after that, and maybe the other person does not want to pursue anything. Because you can feel a lot closer to someone after a trip, so just tread lightly, I guess. But yeah, the benefits to tripping with people who are not platonic friends is you can be a lot more like physically intimate, and that can be really, really fun. So, and beautiful too. Alright, I hope that helps and you have great group trips in the future. And let me know in the comments who your favorite person or people to trip with is and why. And I will see you next time. Bye.